take no brown envelopes, we rely on pounds and pennies and euros just from ordinary working people in this city, in this country. But sign our petition for a 24-hour strike to really pile the pressure on this arrogant government of Fianna Fáil and the Green Party. How dare they attack the living standards of working people when it's their friends, the cabal of big builders and big developers and big bankers who have robbed this country for billions over the last 12 years, who have shackled young people to 40-year mortgages and massive level of mortgage repayments. How dare they come back now after crashing the economy with this orgy of speculation and profiteering and demand of public sector workers and working people generally that they should pay for the crisis. No way. And the Irish Congress of Trade Unions is too soft. They are saying that we have to share the pain. We do not have to share the pain. Working people should not share the pain. Where are the billions that they have salted away over the last 12 years? In which tax havens are they hiding those billions that they have robbed from society over the last 12 years? They are the resources that are needed for our services, for our living standards, for children, for the special needs assistance. That is what is needed now. Outright, strong action. We are calling especially now the trade union movement to organise a 24-hour public sector worker strike, seeking support also from private sector workers to step up the pressure and force them back on this. We reject also the attempt to divide private sector workers from public sector workers. We hear the most ridiculous economics, this idea that public sector workers should show solidarity with private sector workers by taking a massive cut in wages. Do they not know the first thing about economics? If you take 1.4 billion euro out of the pockets of public sector workers, that is 1.4 billion that cannot be spent in shops, in restaurants, purchasing goods that other workers make. So what will happen to the workers whose goods we can't buy? It means more on the dole. So in actual fact, by savaging the living standards and the pension rights, or whatever you call it, the wages of public sector workers, far from showing solidarity with private sector workers, it's actually adding to the dole views. So it's time that the Stand in RT and the rest of them got their facts right, rather than this crude propaganda that they have been putting abroad in regards to this issue over the last while. We've had, of course, a 6-month hate campaign in the billionaire-owned media against public sector workers to try and shift the blame from their friends for this crisis that they have caused. So, in conclusion or in resume, once again we say this crash was caused by outrageous profiteering, by outrageous speculation, by a small cabal in our society, speculators, big developers, big builders, and legislated for at every hand's turn by Fianna Fáil and the Progressive Democrats. I was in that place in there for 10 years. Many's the time I stood up and told then Taoiseach Bertie Ahern that what he was allowing to go on and what he was facilitating would end in disaster, that he was facilitating this cabal to rob society. And what did he say? He said, go back to Kerry, you're a nitwit, you're a failed person, and you have a failed ideology. Whose ideology has failed now? Whose ideology has So friends, if you haven't signed the Socialist Party petition, please do so. We are calling simply for this: a 24-hour general strike in the public sector, supported by private sector workers, to bring together in a really coordinated way the anger and the opposition of ordinary working people. Take a leaflet, take a paper, if you can give us a small donation as well. We rely only on the pennies and euros of ordinary working people. We take no brown envelopes from crooked speculators and developers we've never had. Any TDs we have will live in the average industrial wages. I need myself. We need the pounds and pennies, anyone that you can afford, because we only rely on ordinary working people in order to advance the cause. And my last point is that, unfortunately, I said I was going to make a last point, and that's the way it goes. I think that this crisis, both in Ireland and internationally, now calls into question the entire capitalist system itself in this country and internationally, and calls into question the idea that a small, powerful minority at the top of society, the corporate sector, the big financial institutions, that these minorities in pursuit of massive private profit for themselves should be allowed by their anti-social actions to throw the whole of society into chaos. That is an absolutely crazy system. And the opposition that we say is necessary is this. The solution, the alternative, is that of democratic socialism, where the main producers of wealth, the major banks, the major industries should be taken from the hands of the speculators and put under the democratic ownership and control and direction of working people at all levels of society. On the basis of that kind of public democracy and public control, we can create a society where there is enough and plenty for every human being, where every human being can live in dignity, where there is a home for every human being at a reasonable level, where our children can be educated and their special needs can be addressed. Yes, and where social solidarity in the real sense can count. And also internationally, it would have to be said, the international centrism would bring about a situation where the resources of this planet would be mobilized in the same democratic, organized way to eliminate for all time the horror of poverty and hunger. There is enough resources on this planet for every human being on our planet, but they are in the wrong hands, controlled by these ruthless cabals of multinational corporations. Freed from their grip, the resources of the planet can be used to enrich the lives and the living standards of every human being, ending poverty, ending disease, ending above all the obscenity of war and the incredible billions that are wasted each year on weapons of mass destruction. That in our view is the alternative, the democratic alternative to the chaos that those who run out society at the present time have caused. We need to start agitating and working for that democratic alternative. And any of you here, by the way, who are from Dublin, in the course of the next few months, we in the Socialist Party will be working very hard to put an alternative in front of the people of this capital. We will be going forward in the Euro elections on the 5th of June. Please help us in any way you can and send a message to that crooked man over there. Join the petition now, folks.
Are we?